Today we're going to talk about do's and don'ts of the barbershop. Now, these are going to come off as quite obvious things not to do in the barbershop. They were things that when they were brought up to my attention during school, I said, no problem, never even considered it. So these are going to be a few things that hopefully you feel like they're pretty obvious ones as well, but you may not. And I don't shame you for that. But as long as you catch yourself or you stop doing it, I think you're going to be all right. These aren't really in order of importance. These are just off the cuff, okay? First and foremost, don't come into the barbershop smelling like pot or alcohol. Just don't. I mean, you go to some barbershops in certain areas and you may get that experience. But if you want to be a real, reputable barber and make more than $15 a haircut, you gotta not come in smelling like pot or alcohol. That's first and foremost. I don't care if your excuse is, well, I function better when I'm high, man. No, you don't. In your mind, you do, but you really don't. Seriously, you don't. I've been around people enough to know that that's not true at all. You may think you're a better person, you may feel better, but on the outside, you're not that great when it comes there, okay? Now, I understand people are like, well, I cut better when I'm high or when I'm drinking. I don't really think that's the case, because when you're high and your customer's high, they're obviously going to like their haircut either way. All right, so that's the first rule. Second rule, don't smell like anything else. Take care of yourself, just because you're a barber. I mean, I feel like you should not only look nice, but you should smell nice too. Like, just take a shower every so often, or scrub the pits or something. I don't know. I'm not saying you have to douse yourself in cologne, but just like try to smell presentable. I feel like that's also a pretty obvious one. Here's another one. How about you no grooming on the floor? It's just, I don't know. It's just, to me, it seems obvious, but don't groom yourself on the floor. Don't use your barber utensils and your barber equipment to groom yourself, because theoretically, if you're doing that and somebody walks by and they see you, using the trimmers on your face. Now, I know you use these trimmers on everybody else's face, so it's one thing. But I feel like when people see you using them on your face, they also maybe wonder, where else does he use these? So that's another one that just, don't groom yourself on the floor. If you are going to groom yourself, just take your trimmers or whatever, go to the bathroom and do it there. Like, there's a time and a place. And seriously, if you're that busy where you're not grooming yourself at home before you come to work, you have some other things to figure out, like time management, like organization, cleanliness. This all kind of revolves around cleanliness, I suppose, which is a huge thing in the barber industry. Fun fact, you don't have to be a good barber to graduate and get your license. You just have to pass the state board. So if you can get enough energy in you and enough practice in you of the state board, you can actually become a licensed barber and not actually be a good barber. Ain't that amazing? So next time you're concerned about your friend who just happens to be really good at cutting hair and doesn't have his master barber license just yet because he's waiting to take the exam, don't hate on him because he doesn't have a piece of paper, because there are people with that piece of paper who've had that piece of paper for at least 10 years and still don't know how to cut hair. Sorry. What's the next one? Yeah, so no grooming on the floor. Just don't do it. Take that somewhere else. Like, you don't do that at any other job. You're not trimming your beard at McDonald's while you're flipping burgers. Just don't do it. Here's another one. Don't sleep in the chair. I mean, I feel bad just sitting in the chair, but it's comfortable. But if you're gonna sit in the chair, here's the best way to do it. Sit upright in the chair like this and do one of these. See the leg? Boom. Hands folded neatly like this. This is the best way to do it. You look professional and you look like you're waiting for someone to come sit in your chair so you can cut their hair. So, don't fall asleep. There's nothing that looks worse than when somebody walks by your barbershop and you're like this. It just doesn't look good. I mean, we were taught that in school. You don't sleep or lean back in these chairs. It's not for us, it's for the customer. If you want to lean back in the chair, go get your own haircut at a different barbershop and tell them you want your eyebrows done. Then they'll lean you back. You know? That's an important one. All these are actually very important. To my knowledge, these are all super obvious. I mean, it really doesn't get any more obvious than any of these. You know, most of this stuff you don't want to go to any job smelling. Not only like pot or alcohol, but you don't want to smell like anything other than just like a neutral scent. What else? Don't borrow people's tools, man. Like, first of all, if you want to borrow someone's tool, make sure they're actually there so you can ask them, "Hey, is it cool if I borrow this?" Totally fine. If they say no, that's their preference. If they say yes, awesome. Just take care of it and give it back to them before they leave, or whatever the scenario is. But if it's just you in the barbershop, like I am right now, don't take other people's stuff. First of all, there's cameras here, so you're just gonna look silly on camera anyhow. But just don't do it, because you don't know if that pair of scissors you're borrowing is like a $500 pair of scissors. I'm only bringing this up because I know someone that this happened to. Some of these barber scissors are really expensive. From, all the way down to $30, all the way up to $3,000. You don't know. Now, I wouldn't leave those out in general, but still, don't borrow other people's stuff, because if you break, for instance, let me grab this. These are my Babyliss trimmers, the Babyliss Pro FX, as they call them. Really awesome trimmers. It's like $150. Someone borrowed that, dropped it and broke it. Well, guess who just got themselves a new pair of trimmers because you just broke them? Not worth it. I doubt you're charging $100, $150 for a haircut to make up for that broken equipment that you just broke with somebody else's. So don't borrow people's shit. That's a really important one, unless they're there and they say you can. But realistically, I really don't want to borrow people's stuff if I don't have to, because accidents happen. We're humans and accidents happen. So yeah, what's another one? If you're gonna sit in the chair, don't eat in your chair. Okay? I had a really good breakfast this morning. It was a steak omelet with onions, cheese, and peppers, two sides of toast, and home fries, and some coffee. And it was delicious. But it was still delicious while not sitting in my barber chair. So it's up in the air whether it's okay to eat in the barbershop out on the floor. Depends, because in my current situation, there's not a break room, which most barbershops probably don't have a break room. So I ate in a different chair than the barber chair. This is your place of business, so don't eat there. Plain and simple. Because then if you spill something here, and then if you get like a stain on here, then the customer sits down and there's like a piece of steak, and then they reach down awkwardly, and like while you're looking away, they like put it in their mouth and they eat it. You don't want that. Like, you don't want to attract that. So these are just very important things not to do when you're in the barbershop. I certainly hope you guys take this to heart and you actually implement them. And if you're doing any of these things, stop, because it's horrible. It's a bad thing to get into. Also, last thing, clean your tools. Nobody wants to be cut with dirty tools. I know it's laborious. When you're done cutting hair, the last thing you want to do is clean up around you and stuff like that. Just do it, though. It's part of the job, and you're going to feel better about it, and you're going to make your tools last a lot longer, and everything's going to be a lot more clean. So the the chance of you giving some disease or something to your customers it decreases when you clean your stuff. Just be a clean person. Like I said, the most important part about being a barber and being in this industry is being clean. Other than that, cut hair decently and just keep learning, and learning. I appreciate you guys watching this video. Please stay tuned for the next video out of the barbershop. Who knows what's going to happen? It's CoiffeurNick, baby. We'll see you on the flippity flop.